The next part of the song, he's going to come up here to the 12th to 14th frets and play around on the blues box surrounding the first position E bar chord with the bar at the 12th fret. So he wraps up the previous verse, then he does this. So what he's doing, he's starting out on the 14th fret of the 4th string, going to the 12th fret of the 3rd string, and then bending. And that's what I call a short bend. He's got his first finger on the 12th fret, second on the 13th fret, third finger on the 14th fret, all on the 3rd string, and he bends and holds it. So it's like this. And then he's going to get the 12th fret of the 1st string, and then back to that bend, and then do this little figure on the 2nd and 3rd strings. It's like this. Do it real slowly. Whoops. He's going back and forth between the 12th, 14th fret of the 4th string and the 12th fret of the 3rd string and the 12th fret of the 4th string. So like this. And then an E ninth chord. It's going to slide this from above the F ninth into the E ninth. This is a first position E ninth bar chord, or E ninth chord. I've got my first finger on the 11th fret of the 5th string. My second finger is on the 11th fret of the 3rd string. My ring finger is on the 12th fret of the 4th string, and my pinky is on the 12th fret of the 2nd string. And we're going to take that up one and slide it in. So it's like this. Then he does the same figure again. Then one more time. Then he changes it a little bit. So let me do that again. And he's heading into the turnaround. So then he does this, which is a typical double stop that Earl Hooker uses a lot. Starting on the 14th fret of the 4th string, he's got his first finger barring the 2nd and 3rd strings at the 12th fret. He's going to hammer on his second finger onto the 10th fret of the 3rd string. And then flatten out his ring finger on the 2nd and 3rd strings at the 11th fret. And then go back. So the whole thing from the last lick. Then he ends up, it sounds like a 7th chord. Just a real quick, this would be an A7. And this is a C7 shape. So if you know your C7th chord, played all the way down here. First finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. Second finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. That's a C. And then my 7th, I drop the C on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. So if I take my first finger all the way down, or up to the 12th fret, that is an A7. So that whole final lick, so he plays this. Just a real quick 7th chord. Then he starts into the first solo verse. Let me play this through one time and then we'll break it down. Along those lines. So he starts out 3 strokes on the 12th fret of the 2nd string, and he does this long bend where he's going to put his pinky on the 14th, 15th fret of the 2nd string. I'm going to drop my 2nd and 3rd fingers in on the 13th and 14th frets of that same string. I call that a long bend, and that gives you more control over the string. So he starts out like this. He does just a quick bend. And he's going to take his first finger to the 12th fret of the 1st string. And then he does a long bend on the 12th, 15th fret of the first string, doing that same 4-finger bend. Then he's going to go 12th fret of the first string, 15th fret of the second string, 12th fret, then 14th fret of the third string. He's going to hammer on from the 12th to the 13th fret of the third string and wind up on the 14th fret of the fourth string. So let me do that whole part again. Then he's going to slide up to the 17th fret of the second string. Kind of like that. He's going to go. He's going to bend, go to the 15th fret of the first string, and then bend up on the 17th fret. So like this. Then he's going to do another lick out of those same 3 notes. So he's holding the second finger or third finger on the 17th fret. Like that. Then he wraps it up. Just a quick lick from the 15th fret of the first string to the 17th fret of the second string. So like this. Then he does this, which is a typical Earl Hooker type lick. He's going to bend. A little sloppy there. So he's starting with a 3-finger bend, but he's using really his second and third fingers on the 13th and 14th frets of the third string. He's got his first finger on the 12th fret of the second string. Then he's going to bend to the 12th fret of the first string too. Then he's going to come back to the 15th fret of the second string, to the 12th fret of the second string. He's going to do a long bend on the 12th to the 15th frets. That's that same bend shape we used before. So the whole lick, like that. So let me play the whole thing for you. So it's like this. 12th fret of the first string, 15th fret of the second string, 12th fret of the second string. Then he's going to bend up on the third string and then back down to the 14th fret of the third string. Then go from the 12th to the 14th fret of the third string, back to the 12th, and then wrap up on the 14th fret of the fourth string. So that whole lick. Then he's going to come way down here to the bass on the second fret of the fifth string. He's going to pick the open fourth string twice. Second fret of the fourth string, open sixth string. Then I think there's a quick E7th there, or B7th, or he lets the band fill that in. I can't remember exactly. So that is the next part of the song. So we could try that all the way through and see what happens. Like that. So there you have the next part of Frog Hop. Now the next part of the song, the band goes into a couple solo verses with the piano taking the lead. And Earl plays some chords behind the piano. Let me show you the chords first, and then I'll show you how he uses them. First is an E9th chord, which we've already learned. So E9th with the first finger on the 6th fret of the 4th string. But he also takes this to what would be an F sharp ninth. When you're playing in E, using those ninth chords, you can go down or up 2 frets, or you can come in from below a couple frets. You can do a lot of bouncing around, and you'll see how he uses that ninth chord. The other chord he uses sounds like a B7th, which is, you can do it like a bar with your first finger barring the 5th fret, all the strings, your second finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, your pinky on the 7th fret of the 5th string, and your ring finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string, and your pinky on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. Or you could play it like this, where you just play the F chord shape. So there's an F, and you bring that with your first finger on the 5th fret, and then put the pinky in the same spot on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. And then in the next verse, he also uses a B7th like that, where you can play it like this with the bar on the 7th fret, or you can play it like this with the first finger barring the 1st and 2nd strings at the 7th fret. Now the chord part goes like this. So he wraps up the previous verse and he comes into this. Something like this. I can't remember exactly what he does, but he does some kind of little vamp on the E9. Something like this. Then he goes to the A7, then back to the E9th, then to the B7th. Then when he does this, he does this kind of quick slide thing from the 12th fret of the 6th string, which would be an E. So he plays the B7th chord, and then back into the E9th. That's really a cool little trick he does. So the B7, now the next part, he's going to use some different chords. Well, we've learned all these chords except for one. So I'm just going to show you this. First he goes to that E7, the Freddie King / Earl Hooker E7. Does this a couple times. Then he's going to go to an A9th. So he's taking the E9th and moving the first finger to the 11th fret and playing it there. That's your second position, E9th. And he goes back to the E7th. Now he's going to play a B at 9th. Maybe you hear the difference there. Here's a B7th. Here's a B add 9th. What I'm doing is making a B chord, the F-shaped B chord, first finger at the 7th fret, then I'm dropping my pinky in on the 9th fret and getting that note at the 9th fret of the 1st string. So he does that, and then back to the E7. And so while he's playing those chord licks, then the piano is taking a couple different solos. That part here that I started out with on the E9th, listen to the original recording by Earl Hooker and see, I can't remember offhand exactly how he does that little first E9th riff that he does, but I was pretty close there, so you can figure it out. Alright, next the song goes into another version of the opening lick. So remember at the start of the song we had this. And that's exactly what he does to start off the next verse. But from that point on, he's going to be doing this. So he's going to go from the 2nd fret of the 5th string, open 4th, 1st fret of the 4th, then he's going to hammer on, pull off on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Whoops. And he does it kind of quick most of the time. And then does the same lick. And then he does the same thing that we did before. Now we go in to the second solo. Now the second solo of Frog Hop, we're getting toward the end here. The second solo has a lot of similarities to the first, but he's going to do some variations on a lot of the same positions and notes and things. So let's play it through one time. He's going to start down here, and then we'll see he works his way up the neck. Play something like that. So he's starting out down here on the 5th fret of the 2nd string to the 3rd fret of the 1st string, and then bending with 3 fingers up on the 5th fret of the 1st string. So I've got my 1st finger on the 1st string, 2nd or 3rd fret, 2nd finger is on the 1st string, 4th fret, and then my ring finger is on the 5th fret of the 1st string. So that whole lick. So he starts out something like that. Then he comes up here. We've already done that lick before. Then he's going to do a 1st string bend where he's going to hold it. So he's doing a 1st string long bend with my same bend position we did before, just moving it over to the 1st string. 1st finger on the 12th fret, 2nd finger 13th, 3rd finger 14th, pinky on the 15th. So he does something like this. And he's walking it back. 15th fret of the 2nd string, 12th fret. It sounds like he's doing a quick hammer on or pull off on the 14th fret of the 3rd string. Then winding up on the 14th fret of the 3rd string. Something like this, or 4th string. Then he's coming way up here. He's going to the 17th fret of the 2nd string, 15th fret of the 1st string, 16th fret, chromatic run. Then he's keeping those 2 fingers there and putting the ring finger down and up on the 17th fret of the 1st string. So like this. And then bending. So he's bending from the 15th to the 17th frets on the 1st string, then the 15th fret of the 1st string, and then winding up on the 17th fret of the 2nd string. So that whole lick. And he's wrapping up, coming all the way down here again to the 5th fret of the 2nd string. He's going to do this little trill thing, hammer on, pull off thing, with his 1st finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, and the 2nd finger coming up and down on the 4th fret of the 1st string. Then he winds up on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, like that. And that's the end of the verse. So that last part. And then the turnaround, the guitar doesn't play the chord. The piano and the other instruments play the chord. And then, as the tune wraps up on the recording, I've heard one version, if I remember right, I think it was Earl Hooker who did it, where he has an end tag. So I'll show you the end tag as I remember it. I don't have that on recording anymore. One recorded version, it just fades out with Earl playing and then the piano playing this, or something like it. It just fades out. Like that. Now you could also go back to that opening lick and finish up the song by doing something like this. So walking up the bass, then winding up maybe on the E9 chord. So I just did an open 6th string, 4th fret of the 6th string, open 5th string, 1st fret, 2nd fret, so the whole lick. And then winding up, coming from below into the E9th, and wrapping up the tune. So like this. Or whatever. You can come up with something there. So that is the tune Frog Hop by Earl Hooker. And there's a lot of cool ideas in that song, a lot of licks you can use in different ways, and gives you a lot of ideas for where you can play when you're playing in the key of E. some bass run ideas, some chords that you can use, all kinds of good stuff. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Hope it's helpful for you. If you have any questions, comments, corrections, anything, make sure you contact me and I will get back to you. See you again soon with another electric blues guitar instrumental lesson.